walking with me today as we walk past the blossoms, which do look pretty awesome. It is 72 degrees. It is a beautiful day. Make sure my walking app was recording my walking on May. It's May 15th. Had the wrong M month. So as you can see, it's about 72 degrees or so. And we get some flowers out. Blossoms. It now smells like spring, finally. I'm going to go on my newer route that I've been on a couple times. Excuse me. So south of the border still has an open sign on there. They may have two locations now, one in Auburn. I'm not sure. That does not look like they're a business anymore, but there's a lit up open sign there. So your guess is as good as mine. So it is a good day for a walk though. I'm wearing some New Balance sneakers that I've only worn on a couple of walks. I usually have been wearing my Skechers lately. That was somebody getting beeped at by somebody else. That car up ahead did that. Probably because that kid turned and his blinker wasn't on. Either because he didn't put it on or it doesn't work. And he almost got rear-ended. Maybe the brake lights weren't working. Kid driving that car looked like he was about 18. Something like that. So So it's nice to be able to walk in just a t-shirt today, which is what I'm wearing. Actually, it's more like a 3/4 sleeve baseball shirt, if you know what I mean. I'm wearing some cargo pants. Don't have a whole lot of talk about today, other than my brother will be flying in tomorrow morning from North Carolina. I'm going to go shooting this weekend. The weather looks like it will cooperate, which is always a concern when you book a flight ahead of time. I'm going to shoot some 308, 5.56, 38 special, 357, 9mm, and I'll probably shoot some black powder, 36 caliber. We'll make a day of it. Should be fun. So I walked yesterday and the day before. I didn't upload those videos because, like I said, I don't upload all my walks. Now this one's a little more of an interesting of a route, which is the thing. I didn't really go on that much of an interesting alternate route. Past couple days I took a basic 5-mile that I do often. Today should also be around 5, but it's the more interesting route with the open fields and nice things to look at, so that's what we're gonna do. And the reason why I mentioned the New Balance sneakers I'm wearing is I like wearing my Reeboks for at night, but I want to make them last and not wear them all the time. Like today's in the daytime, I don't need reflective shoes. And we've got a dead squirrel here. As my Skechers, although they are extremely comfortable, they are not holding up well. Starting to come apart already. Just bought them this past winter. I don't even have anywhere near as many miles through them as I did the last pair of Skechers. So I'm not very happy with that. Very comfortable shoe though. New Balance uses better materials, as does Reebok. And Skechers are right in the same price point. So my advice to you would be, if you go walking, even though their memory foam is really awesome, I would not recommend Skechers, even though they are comfortable. Now that being said, okay, if you're just going to wear them around the house, you're not going to go on, I mean, let's face it, I put a lot of miles on these, right? So that's understandable. But that's also good to tell you which ones are better. So If you just want to have stuff for around the house and you don't really care about it, they're going to last you a couple, 3, 4, 5 years anyway, then maybe that'll be okay for you. So use your own judgment. But I can tell you, the New Balance and Reeboks, they last a long time. Nikes, I really can't tell you much about those because I really haven't had very many pair of Nikes, and the ones I have had didn't fit me well. And I ended up not wearing them, giving them away, or throwing them out. So to go around the corner and get out of this main chute of traffic that I don't like. So this plastic fencing stuff here didn't last during the storms we had. Looks like it got taken out. Well, I guess gun owners in Maine can have a sigh of relief right now. The legislature, despite their shenanigans, really only got a couple of gun bills passed. Unfortunately, one of them had the 72-hour waiting period, which many thought the governor was going to veto for tourism reasons. Maine has a lot of guided hunting tours and take people from out of state to go hunting moose. Now when people come here, they're not going to be able to buy a firearm here unless they wait 3 days to pick it up. That means they're going to have to fly their firearm, and a lot of people don't like to do that. They find it easier to just buy one where they're going and then either resell it before they leave or whatever. But now that's not going to be possible. So that wasn't good, and it would not surprise me if that gets reversed by a future legislature. They had to pass something after the mass shooting, and they also amended the yellow flag law to have a reddish tinge to it. The full-blown Michael Bloomberg red flag law failed in the legislature, thankfully, as did the machine gun bill, which is what it's called. That was the bill that used the wording, any firearm that shoots multiple projectiles with one trigger pull. Well, literally any shotgun except for one that you shoot a slug shoots more than one projectile with every trigger pull. So that's why the governor vetoed it, and it did not pass into law, thankfully. It also wouldn't have allowed you to slick up your own triggers to have an easier pull, and you know, stupid things like that that have nothing to do with a mass shooting. So I'm sure they're going to add more stuff in the next time they're in session, because they can't help it. There's two businesses that I know of who said they're moving to New Hampshire because of the wait period they just passed, if the courts don't overturn it, and there is going to be legal action against it. So we'll see what happens with that. So the damage could have been a lot worse. And which is actually good news, because as I've stated on my walks many times, Maine has a heavy Democrat lead in the House legislature, and they have a 7 senator lead in the Senate, and is a progressive Democrat governor. So theoretically, they should be able to pass whatever the hell they want to. But they can't seem to do that for firearms. "72-hour waiting period," though, that's a tough one. I don't like that one. It should be a 72-hour waiting period for first-time gun owners. But then, how do you figure out who's a first-time gun owner? Well, that means you have to keep a record and a registry of what people buy when they bought it. We don't want that either. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with it. Democrats always find a way to want to California and New York, their state that they're leading. And I have no idea why. California has all that money because of their GDP, because of their big tech and industries. New York is losing money right now. People don't want to live there. That actor, Steve Buscemi, the guy that played the little guy in Fargo, this past week, you know, he's born and raised in the Bronx. He still lives there, and some black guy punched him in the face for no reason. Just walking by, smack, punched him right in the face. Had to go to the hospital. So, are these people going to learn from that? And I say that because Steve Buscemi, however you pronounce his name, Buscemi, was campaigning for de Blasio. He said all kinds of comments he's made about Trump and the policies that he's supporting. Literally got himself punched in the face. I mean, what do you say to that? Is he going to have an awakening? Or is he not going to blame the obvious? He got punched in the face. Well, it hasn't been released yet for info, but my best guess, okay, let's put it that way, is that he got punched in the face because he was a white guy. The guy that punched him probably didn't even know who he was. Didn't know he was a movie star. We don't know that either. It just might have been the easiest white guy to punch, since Mr. Buscemi is small in stature. He's not a big guy. And well, he got a welt on his face and a black eye out of it. Nothing to see here, folks. As you can see, it is a very beautiful day today. Last time we came through here, we saw a mangy looking fox in the daytime. Looked like it was sick. It is pretty beautiful here. Happy to live in this neighborhood, in this area. See, there's other people out walking today. Always nice. Joe Veloso, state representative. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Starting to get sweat on my brow and on my cheeks. It's getting warm. Don't know if we'll see any llamas today. Possible. Not much water running through here today. It has not been overly raining too much lately. Originally, we were supposed to have a couple of inches of rain this week, and we didn't. It's always nicer to walk on roads like this that don't have a whole bunch of traffic. Bet you this will look beautiful in the fall when all the leaves are turning. You betcha. It's like that all over the state of Maine. Absolutely gorgeous. People come from all over to leaf peep here too. It's pretty good in northern parts of New York State and Michigan as well, Vermont, New Hampshire. At least in Maine, you can come here and enjoy your firearms if you carry, and actually fly those into here with you. There's the proper ways to do that. Private property, no hunting. The kind of view that you see on postcards. Now picture this in the fall with the leaves turning oranges and reds and yellows. You will definitely see that this year when I come up this way. Which I hope you'll join me for. This is where they had the maple syrup buckets hanging, which they no longer do. Looks like they're cleaning up brush like everybody else from past storms. I don't see the llamas. I don't see the llamas today. You can see one in the distance there on a wood cutout, which is painted and leaning up against the building. But the llamas are not out. I just reached 2 miles right here. Another half mile up ahead, I'll turn around and come back. Just want to get my 5 miles in today. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I'm walking a lot lately. Smells like fresh cut grass, which is always nice. The other thing I like about these walks is there's no ticks on the roads. Usually if you stay on the trails, you won't get any ticks. That little side step I took at Thorn Craig, I got 2 ticks on me I had to take off my pants. Because I took the time to check. So, there's pollen in the air today. I already sneezed once. I feel like I was going to sneeze again. This cross right here is usually lit up at night with a light. It's right there. So and they have this thing to stand on there, so I'm assuming it is some kind of mannequin that represents Christ that they put on there. And they light it up, which is okay with me. And today is a perfect example of why I incremented my Google app to tell me every half mile, so I can better calculate my walking. Five miles every time I go for a walk is plenty. When I feel like doing between 6 and 8, I will. But if I do 6 to 7 miles every time I walk, it starts to catch up with me because of my age and my joints. So that's understandable. We got a well crank over here that's broken. I don't know if that is an actual well, probably just for looks, but it's brokies. I don't think people realize how much wind we got from these storms. And those last two snowstorms we had, end of March, beginning of April, the governor declared a state of emergency with that. She's trying to get federal funding from that. So if people really need it, I guess that's good. We had 300,000 people in Maine without power on that last snowstorm we had because of just the sheer weight of the snow on branches. Broke branches and took trees down that had already been compromised from previous storms this winter. Good news is that literally cleans out the dead wood for future storms like this right here. This is all the result of storms we had. Even that tree there, you can see a couple branches just hanging there, broken. So a lot of these trees are okay because they're younger trees, they're strong. Younger is always better with nature. That's just the truth. So we got some more piles of stuff here. So a lot of these people are gonna haul it away as opposed to burning it. That's what I would do with it. If I lived out here, definitely would have a wood stove and burn your wood. So should be just about at 2.5 miles any second now. Sometimes it's right up ahead, sometimes it's a little past it. GPS is not accurate every time. I'm at 2.48. I just hit 2.5 miles. So I'll go up a little bit further here just to make sure, because a lot of times it'll correct itself on my way back and then all of a sudden I'm a 1/4 mile short. I already know 2.5 miles. This is the earliest I've had 2.5 miles on this same route, I guess is my point. One time was about even with that red barn up ahead. Then another time it was actually past it a little bit. So So I know this is 2.5 miles at least. So there's the red barn straight ahead. So now I'm going to cross the road and I'm going to walk back. I got to tie my ankle a little better. Make sure I don't get hit by that car right here coming. There we go. Now we'll head back. And this right here is Shore Road, which is a dead end. According to Google Maps, this goes down by No Name Pond, and there's private campgrounds and houses, private boat docks and things like that. Nothing there for the public to use. This is going to be a nice walk in the fall. That we will definitely do. I mean, it'll be nice this summer too. As you can see, there's a lot of new leaves that have come out. Now that spring has sprung, thankfully. Crow there making noises at me. Down south I think they call those magpies, and in Europe I think they call them ravens. I call them a nuisance because they are. If they actually caused damages and problems. I don't have a garden, but living in town you can't use a firearm, but you can use a pellet rifle, and we do have a really good .177 caliber pellet rifle. Can shoot soft point, hollow points, which we do have. It's a very accurate rifle. Get quite a good distance out of it with some oomph, enough to drop small animals. But there aren't really any that I would want to shoot, if I'm honest about it, unless there was something causing damage. And it would have to be small enough where 1 or 2 shots would take care of it. I want to be humane about it, but a crow would be an easy kill for a pellet rifle. But like I said, I don't have a garden. I do have a nostril that's starting to feel like a sneeze. It was the other side on the way here, and now it's the right side. And like I said, there is a lot of pollen right now. I'm not one of those people bothered by it. Bunch of dogs in that house want to eat me. Sounds like 3 or 4 of them. This is a nice neighborhood to walk in. So yeah, pretty happy about the gun legislation that didn't pass, that they really wanted to pass. And the fact, like I said, that they have a Democrat-controlled, heavily Democrat-controlled House, and they still had to do some shenanigans to get stuff passed in there. And I'm sure some people have been hearing from their voters And I guess what really bothers me about the whole thing is that it is a Second Amendment right. I don't see the Democrats wasting all their time going after the First Amendment. Some of the radical ones would like to get some hate speech laws, but you can't get those passed because it's unconstitutional. But it seems like because firearms can be used to kill people, that they focus on that. And there's numbers in Maine that are important numbers. These are numbers that just came out last week. Well, actually about 11 days ago. I don't know how pinpoint accurate I'm going to be with them, but they're ballpark. 47%, okay, 47% of Maine homes, that includes everybody's homes that you see every day, 47% of them have firearms in them. At least one. Majority of people in Maine, in this area, are Democrats. Now, many Democrats own firearms. Now, the big aspect to my numbers is the extremely low numbers of violent crime in Maine due to firearms compared to the country per capita. Maine is virtually crime-free for violent crime when it comes to firearms. Now, per capita, Maine is one of the biggest gun owner states in the country. So, per capita. So more people own firearms in Maine than many other states per capita, okay? Mathematically, percentage-wise. And we're in the top 5 of the lowest crime rates for violent crime, especially having to do with firearms. So simple math suggests that Maine has very extremely responsible gun owners. More so than other parts of the country. Now, that being said, recently in the news, there has been instances of young people going around just shooting things up for no reason, thinking that they are in a Grand Theft Auto video game, and I'm not even joking with that. A couple of them, after they were arrested, turns out they were influenced by Grand Theft Auto, living in a fantasy land without realizing that it's real. When you go around and you shoot through buildings, you can kill people. So they were driving around shooting firearms randomly at buildings. So they just arrested another one in Portland, a 19-year-old who was walking around. I guess he just decided to shoot at something. So he was arrested. He illegally had a firearm. He illegally purchased a firearm. And I'm sure the person that he got it from is going to be in trouble, because they just bumped up with the legislature that that is now a Class C crime. It's a felony. So he's in trouble for just being dumb. You know, there's just really no reason for that. are apple trees right there. That one there and that one there. That'll be pretty cool towards the fall, during the harvest in September. Car coming. So a couple nights ago, oh, I'm gonna get hit by some wind. Wonder if there's a storm picking up. Kind of a spontaneous thunderstorm maybe. Kind of feels like that today. It looked like some of the weather coming across New Hampshire on the radar earlier looked kind of squirrely. Last night there was thunderstorms that actually went north of us and missed us. So anyways, skies look like they could get a little ominous at some point. Maybe. There's some more of that bamboo stuff. I didn't know this stuff was here. So this is going to be, this stuff grows pretty tall. So at some point this is going to obscure that view. I mean, it's not bamboo, but it just, it kind of looks, it looks like it doesn't belong in Maine, like it comes from somewhere else. I don't know what the hell that is, but we used to pluck them and cut them and stuff when we were kids. And they used to have what we used to call these Japanese beetles all over them, which I think were actually from China. I'm not sure. Definitely an Asian beetle. They were kind of like shiny and metallic looking shell. And they would fly. And they were usually greens and blues and reds. We used to call them Japanese beetles. Probably because we associated that with the bamboo, which wasn't bamboo. So it might just be an Asian beetle, a bug. So we're at 3.5 miles. Now what I was gonna say before we came up on the bamboo was a couple nights ago. If you've been following my walks on a regular basis, you've been hearing me complain about my left hip muscles and this needle feeling pain from a disc issue on the right side of my lower back, causing problems on the left. So anyway, I didn't upload the walk, it was at night, but I had a really difficult time walking. Not immobilized or anything, but it was painful and uncomfortable, and I was starting to wonder if something was wrong, like if something bad happened to my disc, some degenerative thing that I would have to get fixed, and then I'd be laid up for 6 months or whatever. And so after I got back, I was like sitting in a chair and I just couldn't get comfortable. Something did not feel normal. And then something in my back shifted and popped. And it's been feeling great since. And actually feels better than it has since I started walking this year. So I don't know what the hell happened, or what that was. Maybe the body fixes itself through exercise, perhaps. Tough telling. There we go, teaching the kid how to hit. That's nice. So I didn't upload my walk yesterday or the day before because, like I said, it was kind of a boring route. And that first walk, after having those issues, I wanted to take it easy and take an easy 5-mile route, which I did. Had a little bit of muscle pain and my lower back was a little stiff, which is very unusual because I got my stamina up through the roof. So that should not be going on unless there's something going on, if you know what I mean. So I got through that walk okay. It didn't bother me too much. Felt pretty good. Then I went for a walk yesterday and everything felt really good. And today things feel great. But anyway, the last 3 walks I did not upload because of a boring route. And also one of them, I seriously was having a difficult time finishing my walk, physically. My back just did not feel right. But thankfully that's gone by now, so I do want to cross over this way. I'd rather have cars coming towards me. Oh, I want to get a picture of that flower bed though. Look at that. Tulips. Very nice. And I think, in hindsight, I think I know where and when that I messed my back up. I remember that. I was walking through the woods. It was a woods walk. I don't remember exactly what day it was, but it was a week before I started getting all those needle things there when walking. But I had slipped on a muddy rock while I was trying to keep my balance, and I slipped off the rock on my off foot, and I caught my full weight down on my right foot with my foot at an angle. And I remember when I did that, I felt a very sharp pain in my lower back. So that's more than likely when that happened. And I had like a clicking sensation in my lower back, which was coinciding with the problems I was having. And normally I would have some kind of clicking feeling in there, but this was different. So now it's back to normal and I feel okay. So I don't feel like I'm tilted to one side while I'm walking. And I realize that sounds ridiculous because that's not how anatomy works. So again, that's one of those things where you have to pay attention to what somebody says. I didn't say I was leaning to one side when I was walking. I was saying that I felt like I was leaning to one side while I was walking. Now this here, we have a dryer. This is free, works great. Sure it does. Anybody needs a free clothes dryer, there you go. So anyway, feels okay now. I'm happy about that. And again, you know, my back has always bothered me since 2005. So when I say my back feels great, it just means that it feels at the normal pain threshold that I'm used to since 2005 is what that means. But it does feel really good. So whatever. A little more cloudy now than when I started the walk. Hope we don't get wet. GoPro on my head's waterproof. Technically, humans are waterproof for the most part, at least water resistant, until you get waterlogged and your skin comes apart. But anything short of that, you can survive getting wet. I got my phone in my pocket. My phone is water resistant. I actually watched a video on my phone where somebody was testing the phone for a review, and they actually submerged it in water on purpose. And it took over half an hour for the water to get inside it, cause it to not work. So that's actually pretty good. Of course, if you put it in a waterproof case, it's probably the best solution for that. I just reached 4 miles. So we got another mile to go. I'm gonna whip up a nice plate of food. I didn't get a chance to cook my beans, but I wanted to have bean burritos today. I didn't cook my beans. I'm gonna cook them after I eat. It's one of those things. Oh wells. Well, Also should have bought some chili powder. I'm almost out. Comes a motorcycle. Motorcycle. So we've got a patch of pussy willows here. Low-lying, swampy. We're gonna remember this fall to pick some pussy willows to shoot at 100 yards with 22 rifles. That, my friends, is going to be fun. And I'm gonna set up the alternate camera on a tripod to record us hitting the pussy willows, because you can imagine when they're ready to break apart, you hit them with a 22, they're going to make a nice little puff. So we're definitely going to do that for sure this fall when they're ripe. Oh, the wind really picked up. See what I mean? This is what I'm talking about right here. This is a perfect example. So you look at this. Make sure I don't get my feet wet. But you see all this stuff here? In the fall, when you can hit those and they bust apart, so all those little things fly off with the seeds. That's going to be really interesting to shoot with a 22. I think so anyway. And that's the thing, you know, with the 22 rifle, you could snipe at 100, 150 yards pretty easy. With good quality ammo. And that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to do that with 22 hollow points, which is what you want to use. And that is going to be fun, folks. I'll make sure I get good footage of that. That won't be till this fall, though, when the pussy willows are ripe. Another thing that's funny that YouTube does automatically is they know everything you say in a video. Everything. If you haven't noticed, on my walks there is a transcription button. When you hit the transcript, you will see a menu that has the times, and it will have the entire conversation that I'm having with you listed, and then you could just pick whatever topic I'm talking about. Kind of interesting, but at the same time, you know, I'm going into a database. A Google database. Not sure I like that. So basically, if I just talked about certain things on my walks, I can expect to be on the internet somewhere, and I'm going to get advertisements for what I talked about shoved in my face. Pretty sure that's how that works. You can smell all these blossoms out here. All of those. The wind is blowing that in my face, and I'm also feeling a slight urge to sneeze, but like I said, it's never really bothered me like it bothers some people, where their eyes swell shut and everything. Never had that issue. Bumblebees are out, I can tell you that much. Usually a dog on this lawn. I don't see it. I'm sure I'll hear it though if it's out. Said they got a lawnmower out. They might have been mowing and they brought their dog in. That was somebody beeping at somebody up here at the light, because it's a two-lane road and then one lane goes right and one goes straight, and that person decided to stay in the right-hand lane and drive in the breakdown lane, and somebody else was beeping at them, rightfully. I gotta look up who this Joe Veloso is, running for state representative. I gotta look that up, because this is the district that belongs to a Democrat. Hopefully that's somebody challenging him, and if it is, I'm gonna vote for the Republican, because the guy we got supported the, well, he voted against the trans bill, which was good, but it didn't matter. But he supported the gun legislation. I cannot abide that. Cannot abide that. So I gotta look up Joe Veloso. Joe Veloso. Got a red sign, so usually that means Republican. Usually. I also sent out for my absentee ballot for the Maine primary, which I didn't talk about, and I should. The Maine primary voting is coming up for state representatives and senators, as well as Congress. So the election day is June 11th, and I'm getting my absentee ballot in the mail, which, as I've explained before, is perfectly safe to do in Maine. You know, a lot of these conservative news outlets did us a disservice, especially in Arizona, by telling people to wait until the day of the election to vote. Now you got everybody voting on the same day, and it's easier for them to cheat by having machine problems and whatever else, which is what they did. And it created long wait times, and some older people who didn't want to wait in line because physically they didn't feel well, they went home. They ended up not voting. Absentee ballots are okay. That is safe voting in most states, unless they're in ones that don't have signature verification, which is few and far in between. And also, I should add that, like in Maine, you request an absentee ballot on the Maine website for the statewide elections, and then they verify it with your city clerk before it is approved. And your city clerk has your legal residence and all that. That's why it is very important, very, very important, that if you move, you notify your city clerk and let them know, even though you're already registered to vote, that you have changed address. Very important. Like in Maine, if you show up to vote in person and your address doesn't match the name, they're not going to give you a ballot. That's the law. So very important to do that. And of course that varies by your state laws. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to end this walk. We've got a ways to go still, but we're at the 5-mile mark. I want to thank you very much for walking with me. Be sure to click like and subscribe. And share the videos as we look at a whole field of pussy willows we're going to raid this fall for stuff to shoot at. Nice tall ones. And thank you very much for walking with me, and we will see you on the next walk. Bye bye everybody. Bye byes.